So, hello and welcome to Rosenkreuzstilette Freudenstachel. I'm Hypah and I'll be running this game today. Unfortunately, very early in the morning. so not much else to say. Pretty much ready to go. Okay, starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright. So yeah, as everyone has said up until now, this is Rosenkreuzstilette Freudenstachel, and this is a Mega Man clone, and it's with all new original characters with the sliding mechanic we can see here, and a rather difficult first screen, which sounds fine. And yeah, the sliding mechanic is actually pretty interesting in that you can chain them pretty much infinitely if you are able to repress the slide within the 3-frame window at the end of each, and which looks pretty much like this, where you just slide infinitely. It will be useful for an upcoming screen where Hypah will be trying to get a skip with a crusher room. But yeah, this game is filled with references to Mega Man, for example, here, and other video games that we'll see throughout the game. So here is the screen in question with the crushers. We see the screen going up and down here, and Hypah is setting up the... Nice, he got it. So basically with nicely timed slides, he was able to skip one cycle of the crushers here and save a bit of time. So here we come up to the first boss. Bosses in this game all have 2 phases. A first regular phase and a second rather like kind of aggravated phase where the boss goes a bit crazy. But yeah, on this first phase we basically see Hypah using the character's main weapon, which is kind of this machine gun type weapon with some ammo on the left side, but the ammo does not really matter. You have so much of it that it does not really matter. And yeah, on this second phase here we can see the boss's HP bar turning red, and yeah, these blocks coming from below that are completely random, and yeah, a pretty good fight.
That fight was a lot better than usual. It all depends on the luck you get with the blocks.
Yeah, so after beating Luz this stage, you get her weapon, but you also get the equivalent of Rush Jet, which is pretty much the reason why Luz stays first in the route. And you're going to see a trick with the Rush Jet coming up in the first screen of second stage. Basically, Hypah will place Freudia on the edge of the jet and then initiate a slide before touching ground, like that, and you can see that the slide is very fast. So that's one thing you can do with the jet. You'll see that multiple times in this run. Other than that, the jet is just very useful for flying over obstacles, and it's also slightly faster than walking. Coming up here, this section with a water current, and Hypah will be doing something called a current skip, like that. Basically, you get ahead of the camera and you like flip out of bounds and skip a few rooms. So very nice. And now we are going to see potentially another jet slide. Yeah, very nice. Also, this game has like Mega Man 8 style water mechanics, where you actually swim underwater instead of just having low gravity. So that's what you're seeing right now. And now we are coming up on the boss, which is pretty straightforward. You just want to use her weakness against her, and yeah, attack her a few times. Very nice.
Fight.
Yeah, so in this game, after beating each boss, we receive a new weapon, obviously. It's a Mega Man clone. And we are pretty much going in the weakness order here, and the next stage we're going in is Schwermutter. And this stage is kind of a meme stage, let's say, in that it tries to show a few references to popular video games, such as Mario here and a few other ones. It has a bunch of like hidden passages, hidden traps. We will see, for example, some fake E-tanks coming up that Hypah will try to avoid, like these ones. They essentially deal damage to you. Here we have this massive trap, but we were able to avoid it. And some more hidden passages here. This one will essentially allow Hypah to skip these Rockman to Woodman stage screens with the dogs. Coming up are the Kuribo shoes.
No shoe percent this
No
time.
shoe percent this time. So yeah, here Hypah used Jet to get across this section, but you can actually use one of those shoes to get across safely. So the Schwer fight is fairly straightforward. Hypah will be trying to be careful at the end of the fight to make sure that he doesn't kill her when she enters a pipe, because if that happens, the game can crash, so that's something to avoid, and thankfully it didn't happen.
Yeah, I feel like I was a bit close there, but yeah. It is pretty rare.
Yeah.
So after defeating Schwer, you get the shield, and you also get the rush coil equivalent. You'll see in the first screen of the next stage that Hypah will be trying to chain slides together to avoid these projectiles from these enemies. And you do get some protection from the shield, but as you can see, there are some gaps in the shield, so you can actually get hit through the shield. Other than that, this stage has quite a bit of jet usage. Coming up here is a Mega Man 1 inspired screen, and yeah, we're also coming up on a pretty cool rush coil trick. Few screens here.
Known as the funny dog.
Yeah, the funny dog.
It's very funny.
It's here. Very funny.
Very funny dog.
Right, so yeah, coming up here on the last screen, it's a classic disappearing block screen, Mega Man staple, but you can just jet right over it, and then yeah, the boss is coming up very soon. Big Bomberman reference on this one. Nice.
Yeah, not much can go wrong in that fight. It's very simple.
Alright, so yeah, Hypah will now enter the Dolly stage, and he will be attempting to go for something called the method of Dollis, and it is this, not the next screen, but the one after, with this vertical screen, and he will be using a mix of jet and coil to get across as fast as possible. So here it is. Very nice.
Very nice.
And yeah, we see more references here, for example, the Kirby tree. Yeah, aside from that, I would say we can read a few donations or have things read if needed.
Yeah, thankfully we're caught up at the moment, but that being said, we're just under $500 from the King's Quest 6 playing a final credits song. So if you want to hear that, get those in now. And a reminder If you spend $40 or more, you can get a shirt of choice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So yeah, now Hyper is about to enter the boss room, and the weapon that he received from the previous stage is this grenade that, upon touching the ground, will release this ice wave, and Hyper wants the boss to do a very specific pattern. He got the first jump in question, but yeah, this boss can be pretty rough.
Yeah, it can get pretty annoying.
Yeah, so yeah, the idea is that the ice wave has to be the part of the weapon that touches the boss, because that's what deals the most damage. So yeah.
Yep, so next up is Libia's stage. It's a snow-themed stage, and yeah, so there's snow here that will sink down into when you stand in it, and there will also be a snowstorm screen coming up that basically whites out the entire screen. But other than that, this is another jet-heavy stage. You can see a jet slide here. Nice. And yeah, other than that, a lot of jet usage, and you basically have just enough jet to make it through this stage. So it's very nicely routed. We're gonna see another jet slide coming up soon. Nice. There's Freeze Man in the background, followed immediately by Blizzard Buffalo. I hope everyone at home is pointing at their screen when they see a reference they recognize. And speaking of references, here's Magnet Man from Mega Man 3. Nice.
Very simplified. Here's the Illuminati weapon. That's how we call it.
Okay, so now we are entering the Sichte stage. This stage features a lot of moving platforms, some more references to Mega Man 1, 2, and 3, for example. You will recognize some screens here and there. But yeah, something interesting to talk about is that this game is actually a sequel to this Rosenkreuzstilette series, more commonly known as RKS, instead of calling it the full name. And the first game featured pretty much the same mechanics that we were seeing here, with a buster charge weapon instead of this machine gun type weapon that we're seeing. Okay.
That was a scary drop.
Yeah, it was a scary one. Nicely done.
Also, the music in this game is really good.
It really is, for sure. Alright, so we are now coming up to the boss fight, and her weakness is the Illuminati weapon that Hyper mentioned, and it's this attack that covers the whole screen, and it's very powerful. It requires a lot of ammo to use, and it's kind of risky to use as well, because it can be cancelled if Hyper gets hit during the attack, so something to be aware of.
Yeah, and after defeating Sichte, you get the time slow weapon. You're gonna see it in use almost right away here in Grola's stage. Yeah, so basically it just makes everything on the screen move more slowly. Then you can fire these green shots. Other than that, this stage is very heavy with the Super Ghouls and Ghosts references. Also, we didn't really mention, well, we mentioned about the route early on, but other than starting with Luce, we get the jet to basically just do weakness order after that. Also there's a mini boss with a little quick kill.
Oh, not quite.
Yeah, so you just after the list you just go in the order of weakness. So basically each boss has a weakness and you just do them in order. Yeah, it's scary with the drops, just like in regular Mega Man games, because they like freeze everything and it can really disrupt your rhythm.
It's also worth knowing that this floor here is slippery.
Nice. And then on the boss here, you're also going to see the time slow weapon use because it's her weakness. But there is a little bit of randomness here because she can do some different patterns. Depending on what she does, she can be out of reach. Right.
Very nice. So that was the final stage among the first 8, and now Hypah will unlock the dock stages called Schwartz in this game, and it's essentially 4 bosses that Hypah can do in any order he wants. It doesn't matter in which way he does it. It's purely based on preferences, and yeah, here he starts with Hypah, sorry, which features a pretty difficult skip that he will be attempting later on. Something worth noting as well is that weapon ammo is not persistent between each stage, so he can be he's free to use as many weapons as he wants during the stages. So yeah, this stage here features a lot of freezing, the freeze weapon, and upcoming is the mini-boss of this stage, which will feature the usage of 4 weapons. So here we see the freeze, the shield, and the charged ice lance. Pretty nice. Okay, so here we see the first crusher of the stage, and I mentioned the tricky skip, and this will feature the same crusher. So in the next screen we will see a maze that goes up and down, and Hypah will be trying to skip it by using coil and freezing weapon here.
I messed it up, so I'm not gonna risk it.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, this maze is not very fun.
Yeah, it is a really difficult trick, and everything needs to go perfectly, so even a slight mistake can just lead to death. So retreating was a nice decision here. So yeah, coming up is the boss fight. If Hypah can time his shields perfectly, he will be able to get 4 hits in the first phase, and then just finish the boss regularly. Oh, he got it. That's very nice.
That was perfect.
Yeah, juicy fight.
Alright, then we're moving into Pamela's stage. Pamela is actually the second playable character in this game. She's more of a Zero type character. But yeah, here we're gonna fight her. And yeah, this stage is, as usual, a lot of jet usage. A very difficult stage casually. All of these dock robot stages are pretty difficult. So we are going to see a lot of different weapon usage, and as usual, a lot of jets. And then for the boss, we're going to see the time slow weapon again, because it's her weakness, and it's also going to slow her down a bit, of course. But she still moves very quickly. You barely even notice that time is slowed.
This stage is very difficult. for casual players.
Yeah. Now we're coming up on the boss here.
This game is very anime.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I didn't get the best pattern sadly, but it only loses a few seconds, so not a huge deal.
Yeah, now Hypah will be entering the first stage. The Shirah stage, the Sriracha stage, however you wanna call it. It will feature a lot of bombs, much like in Mega Man 6 for instance. And another big gimmick will be something we'll see soon. I'm not gonna spoil it yet. Wait, I wait. Okay, so yeah, it's this giant met in the background, and every time he jumps, he will cause an earthquake, and Hypah will need to jump accordingly to avoid getting stunned. And he's dead. We'll see a pretty interesting jet slide coming up.
Oh, not this time.
JK. Yeah, it's an interesting jet slide in that you actually go across a two-tile gap with a slide. But, yeah.
You will see another jet slide where I go over a gap in the first winding stage of this game, so to speak. Guess I will wait.
Right, so much like the giant met we just saw, the boss fight has a similar gimmick where she will smash her hammer on the ground and cause earthquakes. So Hypah needs to be careful of that, and he also needs to be careful of the meatballs that she throws at you, because her weakness is the Illuminati weapon we talked about earlier, and getting hit during the attack will cancel it, so he really wants to be careful and not get stunned and not get hit by the meatballs.
Yeah, it's very easy to get hit there.
Yeah, and it's also like an easy wall for casual players.
Yeah, that's probably one of the hardest bosses in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
And now we're coming up on the Refractia twins. There's an interesting jet slide right there at the beginning. Oh. Unfortunately, yeah, it's pretty weird, but you can do a little jet slide there on the books. This is another casually very difficult stage, and there's another interesting jet slide coming up in this screen.
Very difficult to set up.
This one. Very nice. Yeah, that one is pretty tough because you have like so little wiggle room. Yeah, coming up towards the end of the stage, you have a bunch of these rooms with just like an abyss at the bottom of the screen. And this is like, it's really scary if you do it without jet. You have to like ride these moving platforms. So it's really nice to just jet over these. Even with jet, it looks pretty scary. And then coming up on the boss, fans of Mega Man 3 will recognize the Gemini Man style fight. But there's an important difference compared to Gemini Man, because here you have to hit one specific twin, and hitting the wrong one actually heals the boss. So basically, the boss fight is keeping track of the correct twin and just hitting it repeatedly like that.
Very nice. I was scared a bit, but you did.
Same here.
Okay, so that's all the dock stages completed, and we now realize that the culprit is Iris again. In fact, because in the prequel it was her. So yeah, she's basically the Wily of this game. It's going to be, so the Iris Castle is going to be a series of 4 stages, and the first one will feature a lot of Quickman lasers. I hope you like them. we already get glimpse here. And this screen will feature some...
Oh, I missed the jump, sadly. That's not a bad death though.
Yeah, it's
It's
right
very
here.
quick.
Yeah. Yeah, so this screen will feature an interesting slide, jet slide, sorry. He got it, and he just froze an enemy, and the ice block essentially just blocked the lasers for Hypah to be able to like slide through, which is a pretty cool trick. And as you can see, the stage features a lot of these moving platforms that will essentially create a way for Frodia to get across the stage. And here we have the Frodia sandwiches. Pretty decent first one, and
Oh, that's perfect.
very solid second one. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are now coming up to the boss fight. We have a Castlevania reference here. And we have now another reference to Gamma from Mega Man 3. And Hypah will be coiling and using the copy weapon to hit the boss. Much like in Mega Man 3, this boss takes a ton of damage from the copy weapon, and yeah, one hit.
Yeah. So we're coming up on Iris 2, which I think is probably like the hardest stage for a casual player. This stage has this like red liquid that's supposed to be oil, I think. And if you walk or swim in it, it slows you down. But notably, there are these happy little flames that want to jump into the oil. And when that happens, it gets ignited. And when it's ignited, it's an instant kill. So you really don't want to be in it. Yes, we see some nice jet usage there. And then, yeah, you can see there's a lot of fire here. So the stage is not super long, but we're coming up on the boss pretty soon. Oh yeah, first of all, there's this water section with invisible spikes coming up where you actually don't see the spikes until you're close to them, which is very tricky. But yeah, then we will be close to the end of the stage. And the boss is pretty interesting here. There's actually a bit of a strategy to do a quick kill on it. Basically, you want to try to kill the boss in 2 cycles, but in order to do so, you want to try to jump into the room, and then when you land on the ground, you want to do a frame-perfect jump. Let's see if he gets it. Ooh, very nice.
Wow.
Very, very nice.
So basically, by doing that, you get close enough to the boss that you can get 1 hit before the boss disappears at the start. See it right here. Like that. So now it's just going to be 2 cycles of movement and attacks from the boss, and then 3 hits per cycle. Yeah, 3 hits, very nice, and then another movement cycle from the boss. There are some different patterns here, but it doesn't matter that much time-wise. Then we're gonna want to see 3 hits again. Very nice.
Very, very nice. Okay, I will already introduce the upcoming stage. This is your typical boss rush stage, but it's in fact a Mega Man 5 reference in that we are going to literally skip it. So Hypah will be attempting to do a double frame perfect trick at the start of the stage, where he will be using Jet to try to jump on it and slide on the first frame possible.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
So yeah, it's double frame perfect. It's difficult. Nothing else to say, honestly. But it's a huge skip. It saves about around 2 minutes or more, and we are sent straight to the Iris machine fight. And yeah, we are right off the bat using the Illuminati weapon, and at the end using some shields to finish it off. And on the second phase, we are going to use the Ice Grenade weapon, where the Ice Wave will deal a ton of damage to it. And yeah, nicely done.
Yeah, super nice. The skip is a little bit scary because you do need the jet and your ammo is limited, so yeah, it's really nice to get it.
It's not a very marathon-friendly skip, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so coming up is the final stage, and right at the start you're gonna see reference to Mega Man 3 final stage. And then for the boss fight, it's gonna have a massive health bar, but it's basically just a two-phase fight, where you're gonna at the beginning see Tia, who is the protagonist of the first game in the series, and then once the boss reaches half health, the true enemy is going to appear, which is Iris. And yeah, so the first phase is just pretty straightforward. You just want to attack her. And for the second one, there's some different patterns because she can appear out of range. So a little bit of randomness involved. There's a second phase.
Oh, I got the unlucky spawn.
Ah.
A little close, but here we go.
Done.
That is the game. Time coming up on the fade out to white, right when the health bar disappears. And time.
GG's.
Alright, GG's.
Nice run.
Yeah, super nice run.
Yeah, thanks to the refight skip, it was possible to get the first sub 30 ever in this game. So current record is about 29, 20 something. So shoutouts to the world record holder, Overlord Willow, and yeah, that's it, pretty much. So thank you for watching, and have a nice day.
Enjoy ESA.
Yeah.